Hello, weekend in Norfolk. This is Mike Cobb, and I'm here to show you some fun songs for ukulele. Fortunately, ukulele is a pretty easy instrument to get started on, and this particular instrument was recommended to me by a friend of mine named John Pinamonti, who's a great musician in New York. It's called a Makai. It's a tenor ukulele, which means that the top string has a low sound rather than that real plonky high string ukulele, which is the most typical type of ukulele, which also has a great sound. But this is a slightly bigger body and a longer neck than your regular small ukulele. There are many different types of ukuleles out there, which I didn't know when I first got into it. But I got this ukulele about 10 years ago, and I've been really enjoying it ever since. Had a lot of fun with it. You can borrow them at the Norfolk Library when allowed. And anyway, I thought I'd teach you 3 chords, which you can use for many songs, but I'll use them to play a particular song. We'll get to that in a minute. First, here's what you need to know. As I said, ukulele can be extremely simple. It can also be very complex. You can play jazz or classical on a ukulele. You can find that out on YouTube, and there's some amazing stuff out there. But just to get started, the first chord, which is the C chord, all you have to do is take your ring finger and put it on the bottom string at the 3rd fret. And for total beginners, the frets are these metal bars that go across. And this is what I mean: top, and then this string down here is the bottom for anyone who's just beginning with this brand new. So you want to make sure your ukulele is tuned too, and I can give a separate lesson on that. But let's assume that yours is tuned. So if you pluck the strings from top to bottom, it should sound like this. And you can do the reverse. You might notice that I'm using a pick, a guitar pick. You don't need to. You can also use your fingers. And many people do. It has a nicer strummy sound. And that's a typical strum. I'm not going to really go into the details about the beats or how I strum that, but you can get a sense of it there. So that is a super easy chord. That's a C chord. You can also do it like this, which is very similar to hear the plane going by, how you would fret the bottom 4 strings on a guitar. In fact, these strings are tuned, even though they're a different pitch because it's a smaller instrument. Essentially, that's what these strings are. This is E, B, G, and D, if you pluck them as open strings, in case anyone's wondering. So, that's your C chord, super easy. Get a lot of mileage out of that. Here's another chord we're going to do, which is called the F chord, and you're basically taking the peace sign, flipping it, not to be confused with the offensive British hand gesture, but just to illustrate that you put your middle finger on the top string, 2nd fret, next string you pluck open, next string down, which is the 3rd string, would be on the 1st fret with your pointer finger, and plucked or strummed all together. That's an F chord. And then the next shape I'm going to do is, if anyone's familiar with the guitar, it's we're going to use these 3 fingers, and this is like a D chord on a guitar, except on ukulele it translates to G. So what I do is I take my index, my pointer finger, put it on the 2nd string, 2nd fret, and then my middle finger, 4th string, 2nd fret also. So I kind of just think of it again in peace sign, invert it, put it down there on the 2nd fret, and then I'm going to take my ring finger, and this is a little bit of a stretch for some people at first. You bring that onto the, let's see, that's the 3rd string on the 3rd fret. And that looks like a D chord on guitar and is in fact a G chord on ukulele. And so with those 3 chords, you can play hundreds of songs, and here's one of them. I'm going to use the pick for this. should say there's a fourth chord in there, which is, what is that? A minor, I think it's going to be. And it too is an easy chord. You're just taking your middle finger, putting it on the 2nd fret, top string, 2nd fret, and you're only fretting that note. The rest is open. And that, I believe, is an A minor. And then you go into a G. And this is Woody Guthrie's This Land Is Your Land. Thanks very much. much. I'm Mike Cobb, and that's how you play This Land Is Your Land by Woody Guthrie. I hope that helps, and hope you enjoy a weekend in Norfolk.